Hey, Mike, how you doing in there?
We're here. We're at the desk where we always are.
There we are.
Yep.
All right. Are we? I think we're ready to take off.
We're ready to go.
Here, we're going to show everybody a quick view
Yeah.
of Van Nuys Airport here. Lovely day on the ground. My excellent pilot, Dylan.
Oh, Des, we lost your picture there for a second.
Having a little bit of a switcher issue.
There you are.
Okay. Okay. Live television, folks. Actually, live streaming. We're going to take off now. Got a plane taking off there from Van Nuys. As soon as they are out of the way, we will be on our way. We're going to see what kind of breaking news we can find. Never know what it is that we're going to find out there. Anything could happen. There could be a brush fire, as we learned earlier this afternoon. We dealt with that up in the Antelope Valley. Dylan, we are ready for takeoff. My amazing pilot, Dylan, with us today. We might find a pursuit. Might find, you know, any kind of chaos, mayhem. We will see. But if the city is at a rare kind of peaceful moment, we're going to also be taking a little bit of a tour of Los Angeles as we are now airborne. And here you can get our first behind-the-scenes look at the condensation from our amazing air conditioning system. I have to keep the camera kind of to a side angle to get all of the condensation off. skyCAL, I am very happy to report, has the best air conditioning in Los Angeles. In fact, why don't we start off the stream with a little bit of a look inside of skyCAL, show you my aerial office. We filmed this earlier on the ground. The video is rolling here. So this is one of our ships. I wanted to film this. It's a very warm day here in the San Fernando Valley. So the Bell 407, the beautiful Bell 407, the largest, most powerful chopper in Los Angeles. Look at that legroom. That just incredible legroom, Rolls-Royce legroom, plush seats. I love it so much. There is that all-important air conditioning system. And as we take a look here at my laptop controller, this is everything you need to control skyCAL. Obviously, you've got focus and zoom and all of these different settings for a color, different times of day, all these various types of adjustments. The very important joystick, which you may be surprised to learn, is really just used to find a scene or to make really, really quick movements. Once you do that, you're actually going to use these two knobs right down here, the X and Y axis. We call those the drift knobs or the trim knobs. So it really kind of intimidating for people that are doing this at first, but once you get really familiar with all the controls, it is the vastly superior way to control the camera. You see that thing that's labeled the gimbal? That is the device that's actually allowing us to make all of these movements on skyCAL. Very, very important and expensive piece of equipment. My audio panel with all of my various radios, my foot pedal to talk to the desk, and whoever I need to talk to, all of the different controls, scanner controls, the comms buttons. That's what my pilot Dylan is listening to when we're dealing with the various towers. I've got my scanners, of course, my IFB. That's the pre-delay right there. And then we're going to zoom out and show you what we call the Churchill system. This is what allows us to do all the really cool stuff on the air, like using a magnifying glass. If we want to really zoom in on something, I can also highlight something with the lightning button. And if there is something that we don't want to show on the air, we can also blur things out. We don't use that one usually too often on live television, but I have all kinds of different things here. I'm able to draw smiley faces. Probably not going to see me doing that on the air, maybe during a stream. And this doesn't work so well on the ground, but you have seen me use this before. I'm able to use a tool that can actually measure distance, which is really, really cool and very important. So I believe that is going to be up. And then, of course, my talent light right there, illuminating my face for radio. And that is my aerial office, a view of skyCAL. So as we come back out here, we're going to see what kind of breaking news is popping up. And Mike, do you have anything at the moment that you would like to dispatch us to?
So I'm listening to the radio. I don't have anything at the moment. You know, a couple minutes ago, we were over that sinkhole that was pretty deep over in the Toluca Lake area. But I do want to take this opportunity to let everybody know you're watching us on CBS News Los Angeles, but we were also streaming on X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube Live. And there are actually people commenting on YouTube Live. So throughout this, I'm going to read some questions. I do want to say hello to SGV Scanner. PupScan, I see, is also on the YouTube chat here. Those are some of our awesome friends there that always are tweeting, listening to Pursuits, helping us out with those kinds of things. So nice to have them in there, and we're going to answer questions as soon as we get some in here. So we'll be answering those. Des, I don't have any breaking news right at the moment, though, but I know there's something you wanted to show people.
Yes, absolutely. So here we are over beautiful Los Angeles. I told my pilot Dylan I wanted him to come and check out the very thing that makes this massive city, the second biggest city in the country, this is what makes it all possible right here. This is the Van Norman Reservoir, but what that comes off of here is the Los Angeles Aqueduct. Here it is in all of its beautiful and controversial glory that comes over the Newhall Pass after traveling hundreds of miles down Highway 395 and towards the greater LA area. Gravity-driven that is more than a century old. It opened in 1913. If you know Mulholland Drive, that is named after William Mulholland, one of the most important people in Los Angeles history, who basically made all of this happen. And when they opened the aqueduct in 1913, his famous words, "Here it is, take it." And Los Angeles grew by leaps and bounds. When we talk about Los Angeles, we're talking about 500 square miles of area. It is massive. It's not the biggest in the country by population. It is the biggest in the country by area by far. That figure, 500 plus square miles, is all of the land, and then that counts some of the water as well. As we zoom back around here to the south, and this is the Van Norman Lake. Us up in the air, we call this the San Fernando Reservoir. Ironically, it's not in the city of San Fernando. It's just kind of a call-out point here. And I just want to make sure, trying to show you my pilot, Dylan. Right here. What is the front? Okay, front cam. There we go. There's Dylan.
There's Dylan.
There is my superstar pilot right there, who is going to be guiding us safely. I am so fortunate to have three, actually even four, of the best pilots, not just in Los Angeles, but I mean in the country, that keep us totally safe at all times. Incredibly professional, excellent cast that we have up here. So we are going to make our way south now, I think, to probably my favorite place in Los Angeles, which, if you know me, you know what we're talking about. And Dylan, you can call for, so he's on with Van Nuys Tower right now. He's going to have to make a call, well, we'll see, kind of on the edge of Burbank and Whiteman airspace. And we will be making our way down to the Hollywood area. So I guess maybe just a little about me really quick, if I can. You know, who am I? I went to CSUN, Cal State Northridge, go Matadors. I was one of those rare people that actually got the degree in broadcast journalism, and I'm actually utilizing it. That is a fairly rare thing, and even more rare, something that I'm just very proud of, that not only am I born and raised in Southern California, up the coast in Ventura, I have spent my entire career in Los Angeles. I am very fortunate to be able to say that. It's a very rare thing. I'm a car enthusiast, I'm a dog lover, I'm a music lover, I'm a city lover, and a city explorer. When I'm not flying here, I'm out driving, I'm out taking my super spoiled dog Duke out to walk around the many places of Southern California, get to know all of the neighborhoods, from San Fernando, where I lived at one point, down to Woodland Hills, to San Pedro, and every place in between. So as we cross the 118 freeway here, so we have the camera facing forward. Don't be surprised if we get a couple of bugs on the lens. Unfortunately, it's really surprising, actually, just how many bugs are up here. And my pilots, who, by the way, to be a pilot, you have to also be an incredible weatherman. And apparently the reason why is you're like, why would bugs be flying up at 1,000 feet? Well, it's apparently they get carried up in updrafts when the ground is heating up, and unfortunately they come up here and they end up yeeting into our camera, as some of the younger folks might say. So we usually fly with the camera facing sideways for that reason, to avoid all of that. But we are currently making our way. You see some of these big spreading grounds right here. If you ever see these big, oh, we got the skid right there. But if you ever see these big spreading grounds, these big kind of dirt fields, and I know, Mike, you've talked about this before on the air, very important to our water supplies. And maybe just about as important as the LA Aqueduct that I just showed you, because that is how we recharge our groundwater basins. So whenever you see one of those big things, that is what that is. Whiteman Airport off in the distance. Just did a look at this on it not too long ago. Mike, I believe we have our first question.
We do. We have actually a couple questions that I want to get to. One comes from Alex, who's watching us on YouTube. And this is a good one because we've actually been dealing with this week and over the weekend. How do we deal with TFRs? For those of you guys who don't know, TFRs are temporary flight restrictions, and they are actually very common here in Southern California. There's actually one that's a permanent temporary flight restriction. That's over the Disneyland area. I'll let Desmond answer that question in just a second, but some of these flight restrictions are all different sizes, right? Most of them are about 3 miles miles around, 3 nautical miles around, and 3,000 feet tall. But there are some that are much bigger that will require a lot different things. So Des, we work with our pilots, but kind of walk us through temporary flight restrictions.
Yes, so, pretty much every day when I come in, one of the first things I do is I talk to my pilots and, want to know where we might have restrictions for the day because of those TFRs. So the most common one we encounter, especially now that we are in baseball season, is the Dodger TFR. And that is basically for not just the Dodgers, but any large sporting event. I believe it's any event, maybe a sporting event over 50, at a venue with over 50,000 people. It's something like that. So that'll be a 3-mile area where we can't fly in that area. Now, if there's, depending on the airspace, we might be able to go over the top of that. We have to go up to 3,000 feet. But typically, we're just not even allowed to go in that area. We can't go over Dodger Stadium because that's also on the final approach for LAX, which goes really close along the 10 freeway. So we're really never going to get cleared to fly over the Dodger TFR. So that kind of is a big ring that extends up to about Los Feliz, south to the East LA interchange, west to about Western, and east to roughly Cal State LA. That's a really common one. Vice President Kamala Harris has a home here in Brentwood that she loves to spend time at, so she's often here. Dylan, is there a Kamala TFR currently? There is actually a Kamala TFR. That's what we call it at the moment. So that one is in Brentwood. There's a 3-mile parameter around that. If she goes out and she has a speaking engagement somewhere, then that TFR can move all over the place, and that could be problematic for us. When the President of the United States is here, that is the biggest TFR, a 30-mile radius. And even within that 30 miles, there's another 10-mile inner loop, which means no flying at all. Don't even think about it. If you're outside of that 10-mile, you can file what's called a flight plan, which you're telling the FAA, actually what you're telling is the Secret Service who's inside the tower. You're telling them, hi there, we're a news helicopter. We want to take off here. We know the president is in town, and we're going to fly outside of that area, and we're going to go land somewhere. And then they'll say, okay, you can do that. You have to go this way. You cannot deviate that at all. If you deviate, you can expect to get an unwelcome surprise from some F-14s that want to come and escort you to the ground. And you may have heard of some of these incidents in the past when someone is unaware of a TFR, and then all of a sudden you get some military jets telling them to get down on the ground, and you're going to be under arrest.
And
so,
this weekend we actually had to deal with that.
F-18, okay.
Sorry, yeah, we had that post-fire up in the Lancaster area while President Biden was in town. So it was the same thing. I mean, this fire broke out, and we wanted to get there as quickly as we could, but we had to file a flight plan to go from Van Nuys to Fox Field. And what a lot of people may not know is we actually have to close that flight plan. So just because we file a plan to get out of the TFR, even once we're outside of the TFR, we have to land at that airport to close that flight plan before we can come back up. Des, hang on one second. We're going to get to some more questions. In the meantime, though, for our viewers on CBS News Los Angeles, we do need to take a real quick break. If you are with us on our streaming platforms, Facebook, Instagram, X, and I know there's one I'm forgetting, YouTube Live, we will stay here with you. But for our viewers on CBS News Los Angeles, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Behind the Scenes of skyCAL. We are streaming live on CBS News Los Angeles and various social media platforms. Desmond Shaw live in skyCAL. Des, one of my favorite parts when I fill in the chopper is being able to come over places like this, Universal Studios.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we really are privileged to get to see things that you're just not going to get from any other perspective. And so I'm just giving you a little bit of an aerial tour here of one of the areas of Universal Studios, the Super Mario Land, which I was just saying is so cool. Even though I've heard some people say it's kind of on the small side, they just did a really amazing job with this. I am definitely a retro video gamer, so I love this. I have not been here yet, but looks very cool. Widen out and show you the greater Universal area. These theme parks, you know, they're always under construction, always adding lots of stuff. You've got this massive area here under construction. Folks of a certain age may remember the Universal Amphitheater, one of the best music venues of all time. I got to see Duran Duran there, one of my favorite bands. Well, that is where the Harry Potter ride is now. I'm sure that is immensely more popular than the music venue was, although it really was a legendary place to see a concert. So I know that has worked out well for Universal. And here, let's show everyone over here too. You know, sometimes there at night, we'll see it more at night. You'll see, you know, these fireworks and stuff coming up from the Water World show, which is so crazy to me how this is still a thing. I mean, apparently people love it, the Water World show, but they've got fire and fireworks that come out.
It's a good show, Des.
And
I mean,
you can see it from the. Is it? Okay. All right. You know what? I haven't been to Universal in a decade, and we didn't go to that. So that was maybe my bad. But
real quick.
Breaking news. What? Might want to get the assignment desk on the horn here. We have a disaster. JK. Now it is just the crazy thing here, part of the aerial tram tour. So wanted to show all of that from the air. But Mike, you were going to say something?
Yeah, we actually got a question from somebody on YouTube Live. This is a really good point here. There's a TFR over Disneyland, but not a TFR over Universal Studios. That is correct. The only theme parks really in the country that have temporary flight restrictions over them are Disneyland and Disney World, and that was because of a congressional act. Congress back in, I think, the early 2000s actually passed a law making flight restrictions over both of those theme parks. So actually, even during the pandemic, when both the parks were closed and there were no theme parks, we still couldn't go over Disneyland. So you'll see us over Knott's Berry Farm, Six Flags, Raging Waters, Universal Studios, because none of those have any flight restrictions over them. Disneyland, Disney World are the only ones that have flight restrictions over them. Des, I want to bring up a question that actually a ton of people have asked. How does Dylan or any of our other pilots communicate with police helicopters? That's part of the question. The second half of the question is, how do we communicate and how do we deal with all of the air traffic during chases? I know I've been in the helicopter with you. There's some real sketchy moments there where we're under a cloud layer. There's 4 news helicopters, 2 police helicopters, and it's a lot up there. So talk about how that coordination goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dylan right there, you see. Yeah, there's Dylan on the camera again. And we're on the edge of Burbank airspace right now. So, okay, so we have, if you saw in that video on the far right of my audio panel that had the 2 comms, those are his air. So Dylan has 2 radios that he uses to communicate with other aircraft. One will typically be on if we're in controlled airspace with a tower, and then the other comm will typically be what we call O2. It's a frequency that all of the media ships use, as well as law enforcement, and we're all able to communicate, and everyone, all the stations do a fantastic job of keeping everyone safe. Everyone is always aware of everyone else's position, and so we use that to communicate with other news choppers as well as with law enforcement. So we have a great understanding. We have meetings with law enforcement multiple times a year to basically make sure that we're all on the same page about things, and that we're staying above them, that we see the airspace to them so that we're always above them, a safe distance when we're able to. And that's part of the reason why we have the trouble with South LA and the whole LAX Bravo airspace is because of the jets coming into land. Everything is compressed there. So obviously law enforcement, when they're on a pursuit, they have priority. They need to be the ones that are in there. You've got jets coming up over them, so there's no way that we can safely be above them. And that's why we've all made the agreement that we are supposed to stay out of that airspace when an active pursuit is going on. We stay around the periphery, and then as it comes to us, then we can engage it more easily. So Yeah, Dylan uses those communications. There's a lot going on. And then, Dylan's also got to communicate with me. There's times where he may have to turn me down just because he's got to make sure that he has all of the other helicopters in his view and that we all have a safe distance between each other. And, you get on some of these pursuits and it's crazy where you have the guy zigging right, then he's zigging left, and then he's going north, he's going south, and he's all over the place and getting spun around. And, it could be definitely very difficult. But our pilots have a lot of training. They have done a really, really fantastic job. And, fortunately, I would say with very, very few exceptions, I feel very safe with the group of pilots that we have. And we're going to continue this tour now southbound as we take a look at the this is the Hollywood Reservoir right here. I've done a look at this on this, which you can find on YouTube on our KCAL channel. Shameless plug for that. Mike, is there anything going on that you could see that we should go take a look at? Because if not, I was going to show everyone my very favorite place in Los Angeles.
Yeah, not that I'm hearing right now, Des. I think we can start to head to your very favorite place in Los Angeles. While you do that, though, we're going to take another quick break. You're watching Behind the Scenes with skyCAL here on CBS News Los Angeles and our social platforms. Stick around. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Behind the Scenes with skyCAL. I'm assignment editor Mike Rogers with Des. We've got Desmond Shaw in skyCAL. And Des, just before the break, you told us we were going to check out your favorite spot. And I have to tell you, a lot of people on social media cheated because they're following you on the radar. But why don't you tell us where you're at?
Yep, here we are at the Hollywood Bowl. And boy, it is it does not get any better than this for me in Los Angeles. I've been coming here since I was a kid. It doesn't even matter who's performing here. I'm going to have a fantastic time, as are all of these people. In fact, I got to tell you, I love the Hollywood Bowl so much that I named a bench here for myself and my husband for the next, I believe it's right down here where that gentleman is sitting in the turquoise. I believe that is my seat, the fourth row in section W2 as we double in. No, that's R2, but it's up here in the nosebleeds. I just love this place so much. They have a really amazing acoustic setup here. I believe it's one of the only ones in the world where they've developed some kind of technology where the sound in the front is hitting in the back at the exact same time. So everyone is hearing the exact same note at the exact same time. It is a very, very cool thing. If you've never been here, you've got to put this on your bucket list. Look, Los Angeles is a very difficult city to live in. There is no doubt about it. But when you come here, if you love live music, all of that stress melts away. It is just such an amazing place. You've got a view of the Hollywood sign. I just feel so connected when I come down to the Hollywood Bowl. In fact, I'm going to be down here next week seeing Beck. Very, very excited to be going to that show, actually, with some friendly competition. So who's performing tonight? It looks like Grace Stapleton's All-American Roadshow is what's going on. By the way, pro tip, if you're going to come to the Hollywood Bowl, as long as it's not what they call a leased event, so if you look online and it does not say special house rules apply, basically any LA Phil show, you are allowed to bring in your own food and drink, and that includes alcohol. It includes wine. You're allowed to bring glass. So you definitely want to check on the website before you do that, because I have gotten caught not realizing that, and then I had to dispose of all of my food and beverage before I came in. If you're going to see like a really big act like we're seeing Beck, that is not a leased event because he's playing with the LA Phil. But anyway, check HollywoodBowl.com for special house rules. I make it a point to get out here at least once or twice a year, if not more. Live music is my very, very favorite thing in the world. Nothing makes me happier. You know, while we're here, we got to do it. I know it is just, Dylan, let's go do the flyby. You know, a lot of money to do the tour in LA. So we're going to give it to you for free right now. A tour of the world-famous Hollywood sign in Mount Lee.
Yeah, Des, really quick, while we're doing that, I want to, two things I want to do. I want to tell our viewers that are watching us on social media, this is your chance. If you want the chopper to go somewhere within the valley or right around the LA basin, I don't want to strategically here on the assignment desk, I have to make sure we don't go too far away in case something happens. But if there's something specific in the valley or the basin you want us to look at, drop it in the comments here really quick. I also want to say a shout out to LAFD. I just saw them on our YouTube channel. That's either probably our friend Brian or Nicholas that are watching, so thank you for that. And then the other thing that I thought was a cool question here, where did it go? Let me get it one more time. The furthest pursuit that we've covered. Des, I know you've gone pretty far north.
Sure.
I know way back in the day, we've gone all the way to the U.S.-Mexico border, believe it or not. We've gone as far south as that. That was not while I was here, but that was right before I got here. Des, where is the farthest that you have gone on a chase?
Yeah, okay, the farthest we've gone on a chase, I think, well, we haven't gone to, Dylan was saying San Diego. I have not flown that far. San Diego, by the way, my probably favorite place on the planet. Just came back from a lovely vacation there. But no, we have not flown to San Diego. Typically, I'll just kind of give you the parameters. I think the farthest north I've ever flown may have actually been today for that brush fire we just went, as we do a quick flyby of the beautiful Griffith Observatory. So let's see. I can just kind of give you our parameters of the farthest we would fly. Really far north, like to the Antelope Valley today, north of Lancaster. We'll go up to Ventura County. We've been up to the western edge of the city of Ventura, my hometown. Shout out to the 805. We'll fly that far. I mean, I'm sure if the problem is at night, our restrictions at night are much different from the day. Some pilots are just not comfortable for safety reasons flying north of Ventura, because right there where the 101 is right up along the coast, there's not a lot of lights. It could be very scary in the event of an emergency landing or something like that, as we look over at the Silver Lake Reservoir right now. Really
quick before you get too far east, it looks like a lot of people on YouTube are asking for either, LAFD says we've got a breaker to go to, 131 North Alvarado. Has been updated to a structure fire with fire showing. Let's go check that out. Thank you, LAFD. I don't know if that's Brian or Nick. Let's see. Yeah, 131
North Alvarado. And I will put that in my system here, and I want to show all the viewers as well a little behind the scenes. So if I put this up right here, bam, that shows my pilot Dylan where we're going. I entered in the address. This system, I can't even imagine how long it must have taken to program this system, but it will point him, it will give him the heading. That number that you see in the upper left-hand corner is the heading. You think of like 364 degrees, 365 degrees. So that's pointing him where he needs to go. It shows how fast we're going in the upper right-hand corner, and then in the parentheses, that's how long it's going to be until we get there. So that helps us with our planning as well whenever we're trying to get somewhere. You know, if we're going to fly to Ontario for a really important story, I can let the assignment desk know and everyone at the station I'm going to be there in this amount of time, so we have a really good idea of when we can take it to the air as soon as we're able to. So I'm going to drop that right now. And so this is 131 North Alvarado, and let's see, I do see a little bit of smoke here. See a what looks like a LA City fire, some personnel down in here. There is some smoke showing. This is, so we've got an inn right here, and then this looks like an apartment building. So this is in the Westlake area, Alvarado and Beverly, and you can see LA City fire. So here we go, folks, breaking news in real time.
Yeah.
LA City fire coming out to see what, go ahead, Mike.
Des, Brian Humphrey is working at LAFD tonight. Two-story center hallway apartment with now smoke and they say inside fire showing. I'm going to switch over to the fire frequencies on the radio and I'll start listening into that. But yeah, you can see them down there, smoke coming out from the roof there and a little bit of flame on the side, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, this looks like one of those older buildings, and I know we talk a lot about this, Mike, how a lot of these older buildings have common attics. I mean, we don't know that for sure with this building, but Mike's going to be listening in on the fire frequency now and passing along any really pertinent details while I show you what is going on. So, you know, I feel like we cover an inordinate number of fires here in the Westlake district because there are a lot of old buildings here. Some of them, you know, may have electrical problems or any number of issues. You know, common attics are really a big problem. Fires can race across that, and we are starting to see some fire creep out of the side of this unit.
And Des, I'm listening to the
Mike's
radio.
Going to be listening to see. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I'm listening to the radio. Looks like it is an attic fire. Oh yeah, and I see Brian just commenting that as well. And this is a good time. SGV Scanner just wanted to know what percentage of the time do we rely on scanners, and I would really say upwards of 90%. For those of you who don't know, I'm out here on the desk. I've got a scanner that is being fed into my ear right here, and it's actually on my computer over here. But out in the newsroom, I've got colleagues that listen to 2-3 sets of scanners at a time, each one of them. So we're listening for everything from LA City Fire, LA County Fire, LAPD, the sheriffs. That's just in LA County. Then we've got Orange County, San Bernardino, Riverside, Ventura, CHP. We've got tons to listen to. So SGV Scanner, we do look at you guys on Twitter. PupScan, also on Twitter, or X, whatever it's called today. But we also are very heavily reliant on the scanners that we're listening to, which is why it becomes so problematic when a lot of these agencies start going encrypted and we can't hear them anymore. And Des, as I look at your picture, a lot more smoke coming out of that attic.
Yeah, absolutely. This unfortunately looks like this fire is still growing, and considering that it's in the attic, I mean, that it's going to take LA City Fire time to climb the stairs with some hose lines. Here you can see though, they got the hook and ladder coming. Yeah. They just got it here. Yep, so they're going to come and attack this. So they're going to come to the roof. Well, we'll see. I mean, they may have to go into defensive mode, Mike, as we look at this fire. It's definitely growing. I think we're starting to see some smoke out of the other side as well. It looks to me like that attic is becoming engulfed in flames. This fire is definitely growing right now. And as we see the ladder company coming in right here, Mike, I believe the technical term for this is ladder pipe. Is that correct?
Well, there's a master stream on some of them, and I can't tell if that one does. That's truck 20. So there are certain, LA County, LA City. Some of the LA County ones have a quint, which the general difference between an engine and a truck is an engine carries water. A truck is usually what you'll see with that big long ladder. Then there's also a quint, and that's what some of the apparatus at LA County uses, which both carry water and have an aerial ladder like this. So, but yeah, Des, what you're talking about is the master streams, which doesn't look like they're setting that up yet. Looks more like they're just using it to gain access to the roof. And as we've talked about before, they'll cut holes in the roof to get ventilation, get some air in there, and hopefully get some of the oxygen out of that fire.
Yeah. Absolutely, and for everyone listening, I mean, if you didn't realize, Mike really knows his stuff when it comes to all of the technical stuff about this. I pride myself on knowledge of roads and freeways and, interstate highways and the U.S. routes and all that kind of stuff. I was a traffic reporter for many years, of course, on KNX. Shout out to good old KNX 1070 and 97.1 now. But Mike is just an expert on the protocol and, who does what and what the kind of equipment is and what exactly it will do. So, really appreciate having that knowledge from Mike. And, while we're watching it as well, I do want to give a shout out to all of the scanner accounts out there on X. These folks are fantastic. PupScan, SGV Scanner, Pacific Scanner, I believe.
Everyone
LA
but
Scanner,
Remy.
LA County Scanner. That's right, Remy's he's not there. That's right. That's right. Remy, I'm sorry, buddy, but no shout outs for Remy. But these folks are fantastic. They really just love listening to scanners and passing information on. to folks. And I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say that, you know, they help us out sometimes as well. So it's very cool that there's this community of people that really just love passing information along to people. And, you know, they have, as have obviously I'd like to think are very important in times, you know, of crisis, of major emergencies. But these folks have helped out a lot too. There's a Ventura County scanner. I remember when the Thomas fire was going off, that guy was literally helping people, possibly saving lives with, you know, the information he was passing out along with that fire. So as we continue to monitor this breaking news right here, and now you see LA. So now they're coming along, and they're looking at. I think they're looking to see just how strong the structural integrity here is of the roof. They want to make sure that it's okay for them to stand on, that it's not going to collapse, and that they're not going to fall into that. Yeah. And it's just so impressive to watch these guys in real time. I mean, the way that they just do it so casually. There's never any panic. I mean, the work that they're doing is incredibly dangerous, and there's times where we see the flames right up on them, and it looks like the flames are about to overtake them, and they just walk away like it ain't no thing. It's really an amazing thing watching these firefighters do what they do up here, and I mean, there's a reason why you know, they often have, you know, the hero moniker. So they're going to come up here, and they're going to try to vent this fire to get all of that smoke out, because what can happen is if they don't do that, it can have what's called a well, okay, there's a backdraft. There's my mind is blanking on what the other protocol is. Maybe some folks in YouTube who know, Brian down there will tell me, which basically you need to make sure that the smoke inside is not going to get so superheated that everything is going to combust almost like an explosion. That's part of the reason why they need to rip holes in the roof. Yeah. And then that also allows them to douse the fire from another angle. It can be very, very effective. So it's a two-pronged approach when you see them vent the fire, as they call it. So, I mean, look, right here, right up next to the fire, right up next to the flames. It's just like not even a big deal for them. Right. Oh, I'm just going to rip this off. That's fine, you know. So, yep, happening right here in real time.
Well, first of all, LAFD chimed in and said, not heroes, just butlers in helmets, which is hilarious. And then Brian also let us know the reference or the term you were looking for is flashover. That's the other term that you were talking about there. Real quick, Des, I want to ask you if you can, this would be a good time to maybe show some of our viewers the kind of tools you have up there with Churchill and skyCAL, and actually Orlando on our assignment desk letting me know this has now been upgraded to a greater alarm fire, which is, I believe, just one below their most significant alarm building, built in 1910, 9,164 square feet, 18 unit apartment, 9 on the first floor, 9 on the second floor. So that's some information of the building. And again, this is 100 block of Alvarado Street. Des, but anyway, I was going to ask if you can use maybe the magnifying glass or some of those other tools that we have up there to kind of show people how you do that.
Yeah, okay, so here, let's use this, and sometimes this can be finicky, tough to draw a straight line, but we can see how long the apartment is right there, roughly 100 feet long, and we can see its height by doing this, roughly 33 or so feet tall. So that's a really cool measuring tool that we have. And then I can put up, as I zoom in right here, we can put up the magnifying glass and we can look at this firefighter right down in there, and I can follow him with my finger on the screen here, that large monitor that you saw in the earlier video, and we're able to really get in there very well to show that. And, you know, if something really bad were to happen, you know, I could blur all that out as well. We don't usually use that on the air because that's pretty risky. Yeah. We just want to be absolutely sure we're not showing anything, you know, obscene or gory on the air.
Des, I think something
those are just
also,
a couple of the things.
Right, that's really cool about that tool, that blur tool, or even the magnifying tool. Our system up there, the Churchill system done by Shotover, actually gets a latitude longitude lock on the area. So Desmond can actually press it on the screen and it can hold there. No matter where he moves the camera, if he comes back to that spot, it'll actually still be there because it knows the latitude and longitude of where he placed the blur or the magnifying tool or what have you. Des, that also brings up another good question. A couple people are asking, and I think they maybe missed when we started the stream, but there are only 2 people in the helicopter. You got Dylan right now who is flying. Des is doing everything else in the back. He's running the camera, he's talking, all the tools that you see that are being used, that's all Des. He's actually, I don't know if you can hold it up, Des, we got that laptop there that runs the camera. that you can actually, yep, see, there you go. It's a big old piece of equipment with all the iris and focus and white balance and black balance and all of those different things. So, Des, it's a pretty heavy lift back there in the back seat.
It is, and I know some people are really surprised to learn that it's just me and the pilot up here. But I actually wouldn't have it any other way at this point. I mean, obviously, unless the powers that be wanted to make a change. But it took a lot of adjusting to, and I will be absolutely honest. It was pretty rough for me at the beginning because you're controlling the camera and talking, and then you're making all these adjustments, opening the iris, closing the iris, checking your black levels right here, and you've got to make the adjustments as the sun is going down. If we're on a pursuit that starts, at the beginning of sunset, and then it goes through twilight, you have to change filters and do all these different things. But it's kind of like I can just direct in my head.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of easier now for me in that sense. I don't have to coordinate with a third person or do any, kind of like pre-directing of things. So I really kind of prefer it now. I know this is going to probably turn this off because the sun is playing tricks with it there. But yeah, we have a two-person operation up here. I think it works very well. And I've got scanners back here in the back seat when we get on a pursuit. So we can have an idea of, if they're talking about how many people are in the car, if they're talking about using a pit maneuver or anything like that. So, yeah, not just the camera, but a lot of radios. There is definitely a lot going on up here in skyCAL, no doubt about that.
Des, really quick, we've got about 3 minutes left before we have to get off here. LAFD says this is their 1,311th emergency they've responded to. I want to ask you one quick question. A couple of people asked this. So, news helicopters, police helicopters fly much lower than the news helicopters. Why do we hover? We sometimes orbit, but why do we hover and police helicopters generally do not, and they generally do those kind of low tide orbits?
So because that's really a safety thing for them when they're that low. And my pilot, Dylan, if he were able to talk, would explain this better. But you basically need to have a lot of energy in the event of an engine failure. So if you're going to be at a very low altitude and your engine goes out, you're below 500 feet, you are literally risking your life if you're hovering. But if you're in a tight circle and you have enough energy, enough forward momentum, and the engine goes out, you'll be able to auto-rotate down safely. It'll still probably be a pretty hard landing, but you're likely to survive. If you were hovering at 500 and that happened, that's probably going to be the end of that. So that's always something that is on our mind as well. There'll be times where if we're in LAX's critical space where we have to be down at 500 feet, you're not going to see us in a hover. You're going to see us doing the exact same thing that the police are going to do. That's basically all because of safety.
Right. Des, one other quick question that somebody just asked is, when we're doing chases, do we ever think that the pursuit suspect in the car could be streaming us? Yes, we absolutely do. We have heard that before. And Des, I'll let you answer this really quick. There's a reason why when we go over barricades and there's a SWAT situation, we're very careful about what we put on the air, right?
Downtown. Yes. I'm sorry, I was just directing my pilot. Mike, if you could just ask me that one more time.
No, yeah, I was just mentioning how there are times where we are over police barricades with SWAT and standoffs and stuff like that, and we don't, often show some of the most, to be honest, coolest things that are happening because why?
Well, we don't want to give away their tactical advantage. Like when we see the police doing something, obviously we don't want to be seen as working against them. And if the criminals or the suspects are inside and they're watching KCAL News, and then we're giving away tactical information, they can see that there's a Bearcat, behind the property or behind something, or if they have someone with a long rifle somewhere, we don't want to give away their position on that. So there's just so many things that we have to be careful of for so many reasons. I believe we're going to be ending the stream here really soon, but I just couldn't end it without showing you the tallest building here in Los Angeles. Some people think it's cheating because of this antenna right here, and I've got to show you. Mike and I have been here ourselves, had some great times here at Spire 73.
See if we can get anybody to wave.
If you have not been here, that is the tallest. Yeah, they do something. I think they were just waving at us. Actually, the tallest outdoor observation deck in the Western Hemisphere. Great food, great drinks, not as expensive as you think. Another place you've got to check out in Los Angeles. A very, very cool place to watch the sunset. Just grab a happy hour, grab a burger. You're coming to downtown. Definitely put the Wilshire Grand Intercontinental Hotel and Spire 73 on your radar. Mike?
Yeah, Desmond, great place to check out. This has been a ton of fun. Would you agree, Des?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I hope we're going to be doing a lot more of this.
I hope so, too. I hope the bosses are listening. We want to do more of this. Thank you to everybody watching Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, X, and, of course, on CBS News Los Angeles. This has been Behind the Scenes with skyCAL. We hope we'll see you again real soon. We'll be back live on KCAL News at 8 o'clock.
And we start with breaking news at 6. Fire crews in the high desert battling a wind-driven brush fire. It's happening northwest of Lancaster near 30th Street West and Avenue C. And KCAL News assignment editor Mike Rogers has been monitoring this one closely. Mike, how's it looking now?
Pat, a lot better than it did before. This is video from skyCAL about 45 minutes ago when they were overhead, and you can see very low-lying vegetation, not anything tall at all.